All right, let's just jump right in. If you've ever tried to trace your family tree, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It feels like you're a detective, right? You've got this box of totally disconnected clues. A birth date here, a census record over there, maybe some whispered family rumor. It's a puzzle, and it feels like half the pieces are just missing.
And we've all been there. You're just staring at a gap in the timeline or a name that doesn't quite add up or a record that just makes zero sense. You hit that infamous brick wall and poof, your entire investigation just grinds to a halt. But what if you had a totally new kind of research partner?
I love this way of thinking about it. AI isn't here to replace the detective, it's here to give them a talking magnifying glass. It doesn't just show you the clue, it helps you understand what that clue actually means. And, even better, it can point you to the next one.
And this really brings us to the core problem for pretty much any family historian, what I call the detective's dilemma. You've done all the hard work, right? You've collected the facts, the dates, the locations, but you don't have the story. The real human narrative is still kind of locked away inside all that data.
So, the big question is, how do we bridge that gap from just raw data to a real story? Well, this is where tools like AI really start to shine. And let's be super clear here. We're not asking it to invent facts or make things up. Not at all. We're using it as a research partner to help us organize, interpret, and ultimately, weave together the narrative threads that we've already uncovered.
So how do we actually do this? Well, it pretty much boils down to a clear four-step process, a process that can take you from a messy pile of notes to a coherent, compelling life story. Let's walk through it together.
It's really straightforward. First, we're going to build a solid timeline and test our theories. Second, we'll use AI to help interpret those really tricky historical records. Third, we'll get a little help with our outreach. And finally, the best part, we'll co-write the narrative.
Okay, step 1. This is your foundation. You basically start by feeding the AI everything you have. Every single date, census fragment, family rumor, the whole shebang. The goal here is just to get all of that raw data into an organized chronological structure.
Now, check this out. This slide shows the transformation perfectly. On the left, you've got those messy notes we all have, right? And on the right, the AI has created this clean, easy-to-read timeline. But here's the most important part, the real game changer. The AI immediately flags the gaps. It shows you exactly where your ancestor just disappears from the record.
And once you can see those gaps, you can start investigating. You can ask the AI to act like a historian. So with a prompt like this one, you're asking it to cross-reference your ancestors' timeline with known historical migration trends. That gives you a powerful, data-driven lead on where you should probably look next.
Now for step 2. We've all been there. You find a historical document, but the handwriting is, well, it's nearly impossible to read. This is where AI's vision capability is just incredible. It can literally see and read these documents, transcribing text that we could never decipher on our own.
And it's as simple as taking a photo. You can upload an image of an old will or a deed or really any document with that spidery, antique handwriting. First, you just ask the AI to transcribe it. But the real magic happens next when you ask it to interpret it for you.
Okay, and this is where it gets really cool. So in an old will, I found the phrase dower rights. I had no idea what that was, so I prompted the AI. And it didn't just spit back a dry definition. No, it explained that in 1890s Ohio, this was a specific legal right for widows. And just like that, boom, a single phrase confirmed my great-grandmother's property ownership. That was a massive breakthrough I would have completely missed.
On to step 3. Sooner or later, your research is going to require help from the outside world. Libraries, county clerks, historical societies. The AI can actually act as your personal secretary, helping you prepare for all that outreach.
So for instance, instead of struggling to write some super formal request, you can just give the AI all the details and have it draft a professional email for you. This saves a ton of time and, honestly, it makes sure you're using the right terminology to ask for the right documents.
And that brings us to the final, and I think the most rewarding step. You've organized your timeline, you've deciphered your documents, you've gathered your records. Now it's time to turn all of that data into a real human story.
So at this point, you've got a list of pretty dry facts. They're important, for sure. They're the skeleton of the story. But they don't really have a soul, We know the timeline, we know about the property, we know where she lived. But who was she?
And now, you get to be the director, and the AI is your co-writer. You give it all the raw data, and then you give it a narrative focus. By asking it to write about her resilience as a widow, you're not asking it to invent a story. You're asking it to find the emotional truth that's already hidden inside the facts. It helps you finally meet the person behind the records.
And this really gets to the heart of this entire method. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about using these tools.
Just remember, the AI is not the historian. It's the tireless research assistant. It organizes your notes, it transcribes that impossible handwriting, and it types your letters. But you are the detective. You're the one asking the questions, making the connections, and ultimately discovering the story.
So, as we wrap this up, I've got a question for you. What's that one brick wall you keep hitting in your own family tree? Which ancestor's story feels like it's just out of reach? With a new research partner by your side, what will you finally be able to uncover?
Hey, thanks for joining me for this explainer. I really hope you're feeling inspired to tackle your next big ancestry project. Happy researching.